Hey, welcome to Little Ritual. I have been hesitant to bring up this topic so early on in my channel, so I might post this sort of later after some of my more fun videos, but I think it's important to have this content on my channel because it is a lot of what I want to share with the general public that I think often goes invisible. So before we start, I'm going to start by setting up the ritual like I usually do and lighting candles. Lately I've been lighting more than my usual taper. I have this triple guy going here, and I have this guardian angel candle that I've been lighting. Need a long lighter for this one. And I light this candle when I need help from my ancestors or spirits to help guide me, and when I want to speak to my mom. So, the topic of the day is partly inspired by what happens in my life on pretty much a daily basis, but even more so how my daily life shows up later in my dreams. So the dream I had last night, and have had reoccurringly, is, and maybe some of you can relate to this feeling of trying to get somewhere in your dream, but your body does not let you. Where you're either running or even just walking, but your limbs are just weighing heavy and you're dragging yourself, and you're trying to run or even you're trying to speak and nothing's coming out. And I used to think of this as you entering the cross section of your dreams and your reality. So in your attempt to move your body, maybe you're also sort of contacting your woken self, your self in the real world, and it's difficult to run in bed. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to move your body in real life while you're trying to move your body in your dreams. So that's what I always equated it to until recently, where I would have this feeling in a dream and would realize this is how I feel in real life. And this is due to my disability and my chronic illness. So I have been diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune disorder that tricks your body into thinking that your cells are attacking you, therefore your immune system attacks your cells. And I mean, you can imagine. It's like a civil war inside of my body with a lot of confusion and no communication, a lot like America. And yeah, so I've been dealing with that for the past few years, and I mean, this story could go on and on and on and on. on, but for the interest of this video, that's basically what I'm dealing with. Also, fibromyalgia, which is similar and different. That's still really new to me, so I'm not going to really go into the details of that. But they're similar. Basically, it tricks your body into thinking that your nerves are always in pain. So, I'm in grad school, and that's a lot. It's a lot. So, I try to really pace myself, but that's not always possible when you have so many demands, and I have to physically travel to school in this body. And I'll do another video on this, but I have come up with some creative solutions, or at least tools, for me to use on my travels. But anyway, yesterday was like I would say a pretty typical day. A typical day for me is typically a struggle. So I had class at 11:45 until 6, so that's 6 hours. More than 6 hours, plus an hour and a half commuting both ways. Approximately. So, all the while, I'm attempting to catch up on reading on breaks. I'm attempting to feed myself during lectures, and I'm attempting to socialize with my friends. I'm attempting to learn, pay attention, contribute, participate. Things that I guess as a student you just take as default, things you have to do. But for me, that quickly depletes me as I go, And I live in the Bay Area, so I take public transportation. I don't drive. And so I've had to adapt in many ways. Let's not forget green smoothie. I'm usually silent in the mornings. I'm doing all this processing on my own, so my mouth is usually free to drink tea and have my smoothie. But this is a story time morning, so I'll be periodically stopping. Where was I? So, yeah, it's pretty draining, all of that, especially public transportation. Luckily, I have sort of like a noon class, so I don't have to travel during the hell hours where everyone's rushing to work and there's nowhere to sit, and I cannot stand on public transportation. So I've had to have the guts to ask for a seat and for people to accommodate me. Although there are handicap seats, I don't make assumptions about people, and I never ask anyone to move from those seats, because especially as a person with an invisible disability, I have learned to not make assumptions. And so I go to like the back of the train and usually ask, can anyone offer me a seat? And this has been really awkward, because first of all, men will not give up seats. Chivalry is completely dead. They, at least in my experience, the past few times that I've had to do this, they literally act like I'm not there, like I'm not standing there, and that my mouth is not moving, that I don't exist. So usually women will offer me seats, which I still feel bad about, I don't like taking up space. And especially when I have to lug around all my school stuff and also like mobility aids, it's so stressful, and people are not very accommodating. And so I rely on my cane to help me physically, but also like mentally and emotionally, to be able to ask with some sort of sign to make me more visibly allowed to ask for accommodations, which is so frustrating. Even with people that know my story, I have come across people who are ableist or inconsiderate, and I have compassion for those people, but still, I have to be sort of like this person that shoves it down people's throats so that I can be a representation of what needs to be visible in the society, which is people with disabilities. So, yesterday was the first time that I commuted home on public transportation instead of getting a ride or being picked up by my husband. And I really tried to just keep my composure. But I have this sort of rolling backpack slash foldable chair so that I can sit wherever I need to, and it's really convenient, but it's also super inconvenient when there are no working escalators and I cannot locate a convenient elevator, and I'm in downtown San Francisco and I'm basically carrying essentially a wheelchair with my body down several flights of stairs, which was not my intention of having a mobility aid that creates an inconvenience, more work for me, physical strain, all these things. And it was so frustrating because I figured out which BART stations I can take that are accessible, that I can get up the escalators. I always thought when I was an able-bodied person that down escalators were a waste of energy, waste of space, that you could just walk down the stairs. Now I'm realizing that's how stupid that is. Because not everyone can, let alone walk, but walk down the stairs. So for now, I don't think I'm going to be doing that again. And the whole experience on BART itself is really horrendous for someone with sensitivities like I do. I mean, even just crowded spaces, having all those people around me, having to squeeze in my inconvenient mobility aid into the aisles next to people's legs, and having to squish my own legs to make room for other people because I don't want to take up extra space. So sitting in a ball pressed up against the wall, and then having the rattling sound of the train in my ears, so then I decide to put music in my headphones, but then I have to blast the music, and that's already giving me a headache and overstimulating me, and then I tried to close my eyes because I have light sensitivity, and my brain is literally rattling inside of my head, detaching, feeling like it's detaching from my skull, and I have to do this for 20 minutes. And then when my train stops at my stop, I have to, because people won't make room for you, lift up my mobility aid over them because I'm such an inconvenience. And then make sure I find an escalator or an elevator. It's fucking exhausting. And so I keep my composure when I'm in public. No matter how I'm feeling, I keep my composure because I don't feel safe. And my body is seriously like scaffolding myself up to make sure that I just at least get home. And then when I get home, I drop onto the floor. I cannot even make it to the bed, and ask Ryan to turn off all the music, turn off all the lights, because I am completely overstimulated. And I'm trying to communicate to him what I need. I need food. I need no stimulation, and yet I can only get one of every fifth word out at minimal volume. And I feel like a prisoner inside of my melting body. I have to take at least 30 minutes to not move, not think, not hear anything, not see anything. I will often just like take a heavy blanket and put it over myself so there's no light, no sound, and so I don't have to move. And so Ryan like quickly at least makes me a ramen so that I can get into my body, and then I feel like sort of alive again, sort of. And now I'm getting self-conscious about, why would anyone want to watch this video? Like, why would anyone want to hear 16 minutes of why I'm a prisoner in my own body? I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, would I have watched this video before I got sick? Maybe this is for, I don't want this to just be for people who relate to this story. I thought about it. If you have seen my first video, I talked about not knowing what I wanted this channel to be, because I followed so many of my favorite channels that inspire me, and I wanted to emulate what they're doing, but most channels are very specified towards one thing. Like, I follow specific lupus channels, I follow specific vegan channels, I follow specific plant channels, I follow specific self-care channels, and I kind of want this to be for all of those things, so that my audience isn't just limited to those people that relate to me. I want to bring this message to people who don't relate to me, so that they can see this, because it's really frustrating trying to get people to understand your experience when it doesn't make any sense to them. And I kind of just wanted to explain that that's a daily incident for me. So maybe if you have had a dream where you can't move your body and you can't speak, realizing that that's my reality. So if that brought any visibility and clarity to what people people like me experience, and that resonated with you at all, that's all I wanted.